Thank you. Okay, we have a few people sitting up there. We have seats down here. You can just jump if you'd like. Okay, no. Okay, thank you very much for joining us. We have an amazing age group here. We're talking about Safer Internet Day. This is what the whole thing is about. And Singapore, very connected, very tech savvy. And this is where you get involved. You guys have got to have your phones on, okay? You've got to be in Pigeonhole, and as we talk, send your questions. The questions will come to me, and I will ask the panel, okay? This is what, because we really want to hear what's bugging you, what your thoughts are, okay? It's really, really important, all right? Today, just about everybody is a digital citizen. Even the older ones, we use the internet for all kinds of things, but how do we use the internet? How do we use it safely? That's what we're here to discuss today, all right? I'm going to allow each of our panelists to introduce themselves to you. Most of them you know, but to give you a better insight into who they are, we'll let them spend about 2 minutes introducing themselves. Dee, do you want to start?
Hello. Hi, I'm Kosh, apparently Singapore's most annoying person. I know they're used to the whole British accent, but it does not exist, it's fake. So I've been online, an online citizen, as you would say, for about 2 years now. Like, I've been doing vlogging, video blogging for 2 years, and yeah.
It's cool. Do you get yourself into trouble much?
A lot of times.
Good, that's what it's all about, isn't it? Okay, perhaps Felix, you could tell us a little bit more about yourself. He needs to share it with you.
Hi everyone, I'm Felix, digital media editor, and the creator of Stomp, another annoying online product. Okay, I welcome participation from the audience here. You asked me questions on, why we put up certain stories about you misbehaving in public. Okay, thanks.
Okay, let's try David.
All right, I'm David Tan. I teach law at NUS. My areas are entertainment law, media law, cyberspace law, and freedom of speech. So I try to keep some of these guys out of trouble.
Are you talking about me? Joey.
Hi, my name is Joey, and I blog at icejong.blogspot.com, which maybe some of you might know. So basically, I've been an online citizen since I was in primary school, which is like almost a decade now. Yeah. So and also I'm currently studying in Ngee Polytechnic pursuing my diploma in information technology. So basically my whole life revolves around the internet. So yeah, thank you.
Stevie.
Yes. Right, I'm Stevie, and what I do is I wander around Singapore to various schools where I teach Cyberwellness. So for the last 5 to 6 years, I've been to many schools, primary schools, secondary schools, ITEs, junior colleges, polytechnics, and even universities, whereby I impart and share cyber-wellness values with the students around.
Keep that microphone there, Stevie.
Yeah.
Today we're talking about online rights and responsibilities. We're talking about connecting with respect. Explain a little bit about cyber-wellness.
I like that question. Now, very often in many schools that I go to, cyber wellness is seen as a ICT subject. The truth is, cyber wellness is not a subject that can be taught. It's not like mathematics, where you learn that math 1 + 1 = 2. That's a mathematical formula. Cyber wellness is a value, it's a lifestyle, it's a behavior that the individual has to choose to adapt. So cyber wellness refers to what I would say, the responsible use of the internet and making use of the internet with informed choices.
Okay, so making use of the internet with informed choices, using the internet properly, using the internet well. Joey, how do you manage to do that as a blogger? How do you make sure that you use the internet properly?
Actually, to be really, really honest, I don't really scan through like, is this right or is this wrong? To be really honest, but one thing is that in the internet, right, there is, in real life we have moral education and stuff,
Right.
but in the internet, there's like no moral education for you. Like you have to learn everything yourself. So actually, I make use of what is right in real life online. Like I don't go around like, okay, maybe it's another world, but I treat it as a real world. So that's how I.
So what you're saying is then the internet is really no different from the physical world.
That's for my case, yeah.
Right.
But for others, I'm not too sure. Like, there's a lot of anonymous users around.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's just try the audience. How many of you think the internet is exactly the same as the real world? Raise your hands. That's what I thought. How many, put your hands down. How many, put your hands down. There's one guy a little slow at the back, never mind. Put your hands down, down. Okay. I'm like that, they hired me, I can't stop. Okay, how many of you think the internet is where you can really be yourself? That's 2 hands. How many of you here actually use the internet? Because not many of you are doing anything with your hands. No, one person, same person from just now. 2, 3, 4. 4 people use the internet, 5. It's very interesting that we have all of you here. Kosh, your videos, people love them, people hate them. Someone has asked, how do you deal with the haters online?
How do you deal with haters online? You don't deal with them. Like it's when you ask that question, it seems like you expect me to do something. You expect me to like whack them back or hate them back. So you don't deal with them, but you kind of like cope and put up with them because you know that whatever you put online, everyone else is gonna see it. People will love it, like you said. People will hate it, and you have to accept that fact that people will hate it. And if you do accept that fact that people hate it, and people will disagree with much of what you say or what you do, then you will not really deal with it because you know that it's bound to come. So you don't deal with it. You just put up with it.
You don't start a running battle.
No, you just leave it there. If they choose to hate, they don't like the accent, they don't like what I said about One Direction or whatever. Yeah, just keep quiet.
What have you said about One Direction? Never mind, you and I will talk about this later. I can use it all on the show tomorrow. How do you? It must be difficult for Stomp though, because you're a different medium again.
Yeah.
You're part of a huge organization. What are how do you manage it?
I think in Storm, I think we treat it like it's a people's kind of website. Its citizen journalism is very strong. You contribute to us what you see is actually happening, right? So it's like any other medium online,
But you've been bitten as well, haven't you?
Sorry?
You've been bitten with photographs that were put up that were not real and stuff. Stomp got hit with the train door open, just like the UK got hit with a lion wandering around the town.
Yeah.
Who the hell thought there was a lion wandering around the UK?
Yeah, but I think that's one of the hazards of running a citizen journalism website. We do try to verify the facts.
But you can't verify everything.
You can't verify everything.
Hi,
Okay.
Mr. Felix, sorry,
Go ahead. No, please.
Now that we are on the issue of Stomp, I believe there's a burning question that is behind everybody's mind. Because I go to many schools around Singapore and every student is asking me the same question. Do you get $50 when you post an article on Stomp?
Do you get $50?
All right. I know the answer, but I thought it will be good.
Well,
to
okay,
hear
I think
this
that's
from
one of the urban legends. I don't know who started this. I think it only started to surface about a year ago. We do not pay $50 for contributions. We do not. Okay, this is a definitive word. I think it all started when we launched Storm. We gave out shopping vouchers for people whose contributions appear in print, in the page 1 of the Straits Times. But that was only for like a promo period, but we have stopped that. But thanks for giving me the platform to clarify this.
Thank you for answering the
So
question.
all of those who are thinking you were going to send stuff to Stomp, can. Money come? No. David, I want to talk to you about the legalities of this. Where does the law come into play with the internet? Because there are so many things that can be done on the internet that are just not covered by law.
Yeah, first, the law doesn't make a big difference between what you do in the real world versus what you do on the internet. So if you called a minister a liar, cheat in person, you'll probably get sued, right? You'll say it's defamation. If you write the same thing on the internet, it's almost like you're saying it in person. So many of the things people say, nasty things about people of other race, other religion, you can be arrested or charged in court, fined, or thrown in jail. What you say, you post on Facebook or your personal blog or your video blog, is almost the same as saying it in person or shouting it out in Orchard Road. So that's what the law is today. It's just that many people don't know that.
Right. So, and this law would cut in at what age? 18?
It usually cuts in at 18 because that's when you're an adult.
Right.
So what the law isn't very clear, but I won't advise you to take the risk, is if you're a minor, meaning 16 years and below, your parents might be liable or responsible for your acts. So it's almost like, if you run someone down or you injure somebody, your parents can be sued. So if you say things about other people that hurt them, maybe your parents might be liable. So you should also be careful not to get your parents into trouble, including yourselves.
What if and I'm doing this for the younger ones because I know you do a lot of this. What if I retweet something?
So the law for defamation means if you publish something that identifies somebody and you lower the reputation of the person in the minds of the community. So if you do that to a person and someone retweets or reposts, that person who does it is also liable for defamation. So every reposting, retweeting is a new defamation.
Wow.
So again, be very careful what you
with
do.
what you do. Joey, how do you manage commercial pressures with some of your paid posts? These are all the questions that are coming through. How do you manage commercial pressures for your blog? Do you have commercial pressures? Do you have paid for posts?
There are paid for posts, and it is very important to clarify all these posts. And I think that for me, I think it's very important to speak your mind. Like, if it's a really good review, okay, you put really good review. If it's really bad, then you put really bad. Although it's an ad, but I like to put like mixed reviews so that it's true to like people reading the blog. Yeah, so actually, not for me but I know like some other bloggers, like there was this time where they were invited to this event, and they wrote something like the organizers didn't really like it, and they told them to like take down the post, and they kind of refused to, and it got into the news and stuff, and then that was quite. I would say like what was it? How do I say this?
So basically, they put up a post that the client was not happy with. Client said, take it down. They said, no, this is what I think.
Like.
And they took money for that.
For the event, if they attend the event, they will get money.
They get money.
But before the event, right, you have to post the post first. After the whole event, then they give you the money.
They give you the money.
Yeah. But in the end, they were rejected entry at the event. And they didn't get any money and anything else.
Quite honestly, if I was the client, I would do exactly the same thing. Because if you're going to say something bad about me, why would I want you at your event? I mean, I think, do bloggers really believe that they have a right to go to these events?
Well, I think it all comes down to clarifying what you're there for. Okay, like for me, when they ask me to review something, review an event, I'll always tell them first, you must know that I'm very honest. If it's a bad event, I will say it's a bad event. If it's a good event, I will say it's a good event. So take it or leave it. I think you can't just come up, like as a blogger or a vlogger or a reviewer, whatever you are, and say, okay, you pay me, I will write about your movie or your play or your event. But then when you write something bad, they get angry. So I think it's all about clarifying the minor details.
Yeah.
To me.
A question we have here is very interesting. Someone has asked, how or why do so many youths express themselves online more than they do in the real world? Can anybody try and figure out why that is? Is it, what do you think it is? Why do youths express themselves so much in...
Actually, right, all the youth are going through a very rebellious period, and parents nowadays are really, really busy with their work, and with additional school pressure, they don't have a place to speak out, so they use it, they direct their attention online.
Right.
Yeah, so, and I know that recently there's this new website called Daily Rants or something, and people can just say anything they want there, so, yeah.
David, you're shaking your head. What?
People can say anything they want, but do they know the consequences? Right? I'm not here to represent the government. I'm just here to sort of tell you what the law is, and there are 1,001 ways you can get yourself into trouble. Do you really want to? So, for example, I'll just give you an example. In a particular country, if you write a very bad restaurant review, so here you have hungrygowhere.com, for example.
Yeah.
So if you write a very negative review, you can get sued. And in this particular country, I think it's in England, the restaurant succeeded in suing for defamation to say the review is too unfair. It goes overboard and it brings down the whole reputation of the restaurant. So, you can write what you want, but are you prepared to bear the consequences? So think about that before you, in fact, write something.
Yeah. There's a question up here, the question that came through a little earlier, addressed to me. How do I deal with critics online? I don't. It's true. I get up on radio and I have an opinion. Because I have an opinion, I must allow everyone else to have an opinion. I am not a sole figure. My opinion will strike a chord or a nerve with someone, and I have to accept that. So I don't deal with it online. I don't need, as Kosh said just now, I don't need to deal with it online. What is coming through a lot, I don't know whether you guys are seeing it on stage, but I'm seeing it here, is cyberbullying. Let's go to Stevie. You go to schools.
Yes.
What's the feeling in schools on cyberbullying?
Well, in my opinion, the term cyberbullying has been overused to the point where every single comment that goes against you on the internet is just thrown into the cyberbullying, thrown under cyberbullying. So if you really want to know what cyberbullying is, if I were to just remove all the jargons and just use layman term, it's a very intentional effort by the individual to harass or intimidate the other person. So it does not matter whether or not you use negative words, it does not matter whether you use vulgarities, it does not matter whether you are really against the person. In that sense, as long as you put something online that is, which has the intention to put a person in a bad light, that can be cyberbullying. That's at least that's how I feel. And generally, in all the schools that I go to, they have a problem with cyberbullying. Okay, they have a problem with cyberbullying. They do not know how to deal with it. But I suppose, this is my personal opinion, that students, they do know what to do. Now, students being students, for the last 10 years, for most of us here, we have gone through a lot of cyber wellness lessons. Okay, I know you guys, when you hear the word cyber wellness, you're just going to switch off. Right? You're just going to switch off. And the thing is this, although people have the head knowledge, they still lack the hard knowledge. Okay, they lack the hardware, and when they are handling cyberbullying, they do not really handle it the right way. And if you tell them, oh, we are being cyberbullied, tell the teacher. Okay, in all honesty, for a secondary school student, how many of you here would really do that?
Right. Very interesting. The questions are coming in so fast that the conversation is flying from one end to the other. It's getting really difficult to focus in on things. Think before you post, before you click, before you respond. That is basically what we're trying to get people to do, right? Do you believe that the youth today are really going through that process?
What, like they're really thinking and posting? No, of course not. We don't think. Just let it out. I don't like One Direction. I write it down, I post it. You know, we don't think. That's the problem, like you would say, that we don't think of what could come of that post, or what could come of your opinions or your comment. We just let it out.
How do we get kids to think then? What is needed to make these children realize that they have to think, or I'm not going to call you children, the youth, to realize that they need to think. They have a responsibility. They can't put everything and anything they want out there. What needs to be done?
Sorry, don't mind.
No.
Don't mind, can just repeat. So.
What needs to be done to get the youth today to think, to realize that they have to be responsible for what they put out there?
In all honesty, I think youths do already know that. They do already know what is right and what is wrong. But the problem here is making that choice. And I suppose somewhere along the line, the very impulsive nature of young people today and the need for instant gratification has caused them to, in a sense, not use that part of the brain to think carefully. And in my personal opinion, some people just have to go through the school of hard knocks.
Right.
They have to learn it the hard way.
Joey, do you agree that the youth actually know what they're doing and they're just going ahead and doing it anyway?
I think, a lot of them know like what are the consequences, but then they just do it because a lot of people are doing it. Yeah, like popular blogger Xia Xue, she just blogs and say anything she wants, and people look up to her. People think, oh, she's so cool. Oh, I'm gonna do the same thing. And
But we all know that there's a very special side to her blog, isn't there?
Yeah, she has lawyers, but people don't read that she has lawyers, and they don't have lawyers, but they just do the same thing. Yeah.
Hence, they get themselves into trouble.
Yeah. Like, I remember there was this case last year, I think. There were two bloggers who went to jail because they made racist comments on their blogs. So this is a really concerning problem. Yeah.
There are questions now beginning to come up on vulgarity and how do you discourage students from vulgarity. I had a conversation with someone once and I said, why do you post this way? And the answer was, this is me. This is who I am. And the internet says it's okay for me to speak this way. How do we deal with that? As a man from Stomp, how would you deal with that? Because I got to bring Stomp into this.
No, I think before that, I just want to make a point about, why people post the kind of nonsense that they do on the internet. I think one reason is do not treat internet as a public, as private. It is public. Whatever you do will come back to you. I mean, one day. I mean, you'll be seen. It's the word is exponential. Anything that you do viral will be exponential. So it's not a private place. So I've been noticing a trend lately. People have been sending it to us. Facebook postings of people cursing their parents. Why on earth do you want to do that in public? Where is your respect, self-respect as well as respect for your parents? So that point, I think, I need to get across. It's not private, it's public. Anything that you put will spread, will be seen in the public, area. You cannot run away. You cannot hide. You cannot run away. You come back to you. Yeah.
Okay. I want to stay with you because I think this is a very interesting question that's come through. It was mentioned that it's wrong to act as a vigilante online. But doesn't the likes of Stomp actually open that up? I'm not accusing Stomp of anything, but I'm accusing the internet. Doesn't the internet itself allow for the vigilante approach?
No, I think this is where we got to define what vigilante is. I mean, I think what you see on citizen journalism website, and it's not just Storm. There are other citizen journalism websites elsewhere.
Yeah, totally.
It's actually people recording what they see in public. It may be it need not necessarily be negative, although the negative seems to be more persuasive for people to want to take pictures and send it in. But my line is always, and I always tell people this when they talk about, hey, why I guilt Storm all the time, it's actually very simple. If you don't do anything wrong, there's no fear of citizen journalism, there's no fear of of being a victim of some vigilantes out there, in cyberspace. And one reason actually why, you see a lot of such cases is because of the, of the dominance of smartphones nowadays. Everybody got a smartphone with a camera, built into it. So if you don't do anything wrong, you should not be, afraid of acts of vigilantism or whatever you call it.
Why did you guys actually start up Stomp?
We started Storm actually to give a platform for people to engage people, give a platform for people to, report what's happening in Singapore. And these are reports that you don't normally see in the mainstream media,
Right. So it gave you an opportunity to put stuff out that you say could not necessarily see on the front page of the Straits Times.
Yeah, they may not warrant, being used in the Straits Times, but
right.
They are small, little bits of, what is really happening in the what I call the real Singapore,
Right.
Yeah. And actually, this actually has led to a lot of social good. For instance, this campaign that we have for people who use up the reserved seats in MRT trains and on buses, I mean, not giving it up to not just pregnant women, but actually it's meant to, the seats are reserved for elderly, for people who are handicapped, for people who are, injured or whatever, And I see in countries elsewhere, for instance in Taiwan, people ultimately, young people too, they don't occupy the seat. But in Singapore, people just don't give a damn. But lately, I think I myself have witnessed, I use the MRT, I've witnessed, that the seats actually are not being occupied, People do, it's a deterrent. People don't want to be stormed,
Oh, now I understand where the name came from. I've been waiting forever to figure that one out. I finally figured it out. I knew that something good would come out of today. Youths in our society, some people call them the Facebook generation. They've started posting very intimate content to the extent that it's really messing themselves up. What are your views on what we've been seeing lately? We've seen it with university students. Does anybody have views on?
I don't get it. I don't understand. I come from, I don't know, you call me old, but a generation where we share, things about our private life, our family life, friends, within close friends. Okay, but if I have 2,000 followers on Twitter, or let's say 5,000 people on Facebook, why would I tell all those 5,000 people about my family and my relationship? I don't get it.
Right.
So I don't get it. I'm on that side of the field.
You're on that side of the field. Joey?
Actually, I also don't get it. I don't know why they want to do such a thing.
Isn't it just sensationalism? I want to be known.
But
isn't that what most of the internet is about?
you don't have to use it in this way, your private parts are, on the website and stuff.
It's funny, that's the one thing I didn't notice about the whole thing. But anyway, so you don't understand it either. No. David?
Okay, so let me go through the legal dimensions again. So if you post intimate information, so if you describe your sex act, for example, or a photo, It may not be defamation because, if the parts look fantastic, then you're not really bring someone to disrepute. But there's a problem of invasion of privacy, right? So unless the other person consents to the photo being put up or the information being described, you might subject yourself to another lawsuit again. Right? So the technical term is breach of confidence. You can always Google that. So, possibly you can subject yourself to legal action if the other person in the description or in the photo does not give consent.
Okay. We've got so many, it's so nice. We're getting all these questions in for the lawyer.
Sorry.
The
Now that
lawyer.
we are on the issue of intimate photos,
Yes.
I thought it's important to draw attention to certain applications that have been around. In a way, when you upload a photo, people copy it, that's it. And people are fearful that people will keep the photo. Now, there are more applications coming out right now that you can actually share a photo with somebody, and then the app itself will delete the photo away instantly after a set number of seconds. I'm pretty sure
that's right.
Some of us
Yes.
are aware of that.
Yes.
And I thought that it's important to draw attention to such applications, because if people take a screenshot of the photograph, you will be notified. But maybe you can just hear from Dr. David. So if, let's say, a girl sends her naked picture to a guy, right, and sets it such that the photograph would be deleted in 5 seconds. And then the guy, once he receives the photograph, he takes a screenshot of it. Now, what can the girl do?
Okay, first there are several issues. One, if you send obscene materials, including nude photos, over the internet, you're already breaking the law. So that's part one. Part two is if you are the photographer, you own copyright in your photo. So you can prevent anyone else from reposting the photo on the web, anywhere on the web, or even taking a screen capture and then reposting it. So technically, if someone does that without your permission, it's called copyright infringement. So if the boyfriend, takes a screen capture and puts it up, and he's not the photographer, then she has the right to make him take it down what's on Facebook, because that's copyright infringement. But if he puts it on his personal blog, then it's very difficult for that to be taken down. So the lesson here is, even though, the law might be broken here and there, it's very difficult to enforce your rights in many situations. So the damage has been done, you have a digital footprint, you'll be there forever. So if you look for a job in the future, your employer might just Google your name and find your naked pictures.
AKA, you can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
You can't. Just to give the younger ones here, I don't have figures for Singapore, but I will give you some figures for the United States. Last year, HR departments, 32% of HR departments checked the internet for information on prospective employees before employing them. That means 32% of job applicants were checked on the internet first. So remember, you may put it up when you're 17. It is still there when you're 25. You need to be very careful.
I saw some updated data on a social media platform, a social media site, Mashable.com. It says that up to 91% of job agencies screen applicants using social media.
See?
I dare say the number will go up to 100%.
I think it will.
Yeah.
I think it will. I want to go back to the freedoms you were talking about and see whether anyone here has comments on it. It is actually targeted at David, but I think each one will have a comment. Where do we draw the line when it comes to our freedoms on the internet, especially freedom of speech, between what are my rights and what is unlawful? Because to most of the youth out here, the internet is where I can say what I want to say. So where do we draw that line?
I think the starting point is you are free to say whatever you want, but there are consequences, right? So if you post something, obviously there are consequences because it might be hurtful to somebody. It might damage the reputation of a public figure, especially if it's untrue. So I think the important thing is to first distinguish between what is a fact versus what is your opinion. So be very careful when you post that. And if it's your opinion, you must be able to back it up. So if you say, this minister is no good, is a liar, is a cheat, or this ministry is totally crap, you must have something to back it up. Because if you simply just shoot your mouth all over, first, if I challenge you to go to the minister and say that in front of the person, you wouldn't say it because you know it's not true. But online, you think, no one's going to find out, I can say it. Why should it be different? So you're free to say it, but just be careful, there are consequences.
And as you mentioned earlier, if you are a juvenile, then those consequences could still fall onto your parents.
Sometimes your parents, especially if you're maybe, say, some of you are 13, 14, your parents may be responsible. So the law may get your parents because they're supposed to be able to exert control over you and responsible for you. So they might ultimately have to pay some penalty for your conduct.
Maybe one more question and then we'll move on away from David to our other speakers. This is an interesting question because one would think that most people would know. Does watching pornography break the law? There's one person who went no.
Yes. No matter in what form, because possession of pornography, you're already breaking the law. If you download, that's a few laws you're breaking. I won't go into the technical parts. In fact, go to the Media Literacy Council website. I've written the whole section called Understanding the Law. So down there you can find out if you download from BitTorrents, immediately it's copyright infringement. If you download porn, that's another law you're breaking. So in short, yes, watching porn in any form, you're breaking the law in Singapore.
And immediately Kosh goes, damn. You know I'm going to use that on radio tomorrow, don't you? This is for Joey and for Kosh. Have either of you ever been cyberbullied?
Actually, not really, but I've cyberbullied someone else.
Tell me.
Yeah.
No. Don't go. Oh. This is what it's about. This is what it's about. This is about honesty. This is about honesty. Ayo, don't need to be honest, is it? So tell us, what was it about?
Because I was one of the in charge for a class blog, and at the tech board, one of my classmates, I don't know, some people, the way they type is so irritating, and then you might misinterpret to another meaning.
Yes.
So I thought that he was really angry with me, so I did a whole blog post on the class website, directing at him, really angry at him, and then saying bad things about him. So I got a lot of people to back me up, and then we kind of trashed him,
And what happened at the end of it all?
At the end, he called me, and we had a lot of discussions, clear the misunderstanding, because he wasn't a very weak kind of guy. He was a really strong guy, and he knows that his conscience is clear and stuff. So, yeah.
This is it. This was when you were in school.
Yeah, when I was...
And the school never stepped in to moderate this.
No, because this is a personal class blog.
Personal class blog.
So actually, I don't know whether maybe the teachers know, but then they don't really want to interfere with us, and they don't really want to say anything much. Yeah.
Just that one time.
Yeah.
Kosh?
I get cyberbullied all the time, man. I think one of the major points in the whole lifespan of Kosh was when I actually made fun of Xiaxue. Yeah, you guys know about it? No, if you don't, you guys know about it. Anyway,
there's a whole group down there that knows about it.
Well, apparently I made fun of her, indirectly actually, and then after that she wrote a whole blog about me. And saying that I was a woman basher and stuff like that. And then I couldn't even step out of my house because I was so scared. Yeah, I was so scared because everywhere I looked, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, even friends who were texting me like, you better stay at home, man, you know. Very alien and you got all a gangster come find you all that, you know. And I was so scared because unlike them, unlike people who think that online life is different from the real life, I think that they're the same thing. So I was so scared to come out of my house. I was so scared to go down and buy food. You know, there were times I would just stay in the house and wait for my mom to come back so she'll buy food for me at the end of the day. Because I was so scared because I don't know who would have bashed me.
But that's quite interesting because she is on the net saying all kinds of things to you. People not on the net are saying that she's going to send people to bash you, and it's them that you're believing.
What's to say again?
You're believing people who are not on the net, who are saying she is going to send someone to bash you.
It was scary. It was a thought. They were just injecting these thoughts in my head. It was scary.
Can we ever, how do I put this? Can we ever develop specific laws for cyberbullying? You work with kids in schools. Would it work?
You're talking about laws for cyberbullying.
How?
To my knowledge,
I don't think there are any.
there ain't any laws.
But could you even develop a law? Would the kids even bother to listen to the law?
Well, I believe even if they do enact a law, it would be really hard to enforce.
Okay.
Really hard to enforce, and I think instead of trying to go really hard on this, I think what people need to be informed, right, is more of the empathy, trying to get them to empathize with other people. Now, of course, I'm not saying you can't say whatever you want, but I think what we need to learn is we need to learn how to fight fair. Instead of going online, voicing your opinions, and you do not like what people say, and then you start getting personal in your attacks, and I really think that's not fighting fair. And I think learning how to fight fair is a process of growing up. So you talk about cyberbullying laws. I can recall our ex-Deputy Prime Minister, Mr. Wong Kan Seng. He did make mention that while there are no cyberbullying laws on the internet, there is also no immunity for acts conducted on the internet. So I thought that's something to think about, and maybe Dr. David.
Yeah, I think that the government hadn't passed any law, but as between two persons, there's the private law. It's called the tort of harassment. There was a test case in the Singapore courts a few years ago where a woman was receiving phone calls and SMSs and flowers from another guy. I think the guy visited her once or twice. So it's a repeated pattern of behavior. So if you have SMSs and mobile phones or phone calls, that could be harassment. And of course it was. So in today, perhaps, multiples of flaming on websites and blogs, tweets, whatever, could be the new cyber harassment. So, maybe our courts could say, yes, we can stop this kind of behavior as between two persons.
Then, okay, you're talking about the flaming of people and things like that. That then leads us to the language that is now being used, the amount of name calling that you see, the amount of vulgarity that you see in the posts. Why do you think the youth are resorting to that? The name calling, the vulgarity. Why are they stooping to that?
That's a tough question. Well, I suppose one possible reason could be that whole culture where I say what I want, I do what I want, and if that's my form of expression, then I'm going to use it. Now, I believe that many of you here out there probably watched the video that Kosh made about this issue. I did too. So maybe he'll be able to elaborate a little bit more. But if you ask me why do youths use vulgarities, I will not give you a simple answer by, because they think it is cool. No, I don't think they're using it because they think it's cool. But it has become, sadly, it has become a norm to them.
You agree with that?
Yeah, sadly, it's people have come to a point where kids have come to a point where they can't express, they can't say that, oh, the McSpicy was very spicy. They can't say that. They have to say the McSpicy was spicy.
Spicy.
It's just come to a point where vocabulary has narrowed down to those words, and we can't express how much we hate something or how much we love something without using those words. And it's sad.
So you're saying it has become a lifestyle?
Yes. A culture, a lifestyle.
A culture, a lifestyle. Do you see this with people who send you stuff for Stomp? Is it the same?
No, actually, on the question of vulgarity,
Yeah.
I think it is perfectly, there's a perfect logical explanation for it. I mean, in your public discourse, you got to be very careful you don't use it. So people think internet, well, that's where they really express themselves, So I think it's also an attitude that if you use four-letter word, it's a bit more, you're more for the male, you're more macho, that kind of thing. I attribute it to this kind of this explanation, rather than what the people are saying that actually it is part of their culture. I don't agree that it's cultural.
So you're saying that it makes you seem stronger,
yeah.
more in control.
Right. Yeah. But I just want to point out, I'm not so much concerned about vulgarity. I can accept vulgarity. Four-letter word. I think, to me, it's one of the most, powerful, word in the English language. It can express so many emotions.
Right.
But I'm more concerned about, people, not the vulgarity part, but people actually, just saying exactly what they feel without caring for, the feelings of other people. I think that is cyberbullying.
Sorry, I have to interject at this point. I actually disagree with that. I personally feel that vulgarities is not the right value to propagate and penetrate in society. And in fact, if you ask me, what is cyber wellness and what is one thing that Safer Internet Day could consider adopting, is that, hey, maybe just for Safer Internet Day, could we have just one day where we encourage young people to speak live? Tell them, hey, don't use vulgarities. If you really cannot take it for the rest of the year, you have to use it. But for just this one day, deprive yourself. Right? Deprivation will get people to exercise some self-control and just spend that one day and not use vulgarities. And I think what we want to do is to build society with the values that is right, that is positive.
Because remember, what we're trying to get across to you here is respect. It's responsibility. This may sound very, very, very corny to you. How many of you watched Spider-Man? Can you raise your hands? Come on, seriously. I know it was a corny movie. Can you just put your hands up? It was really bad. But what was the line from that movie? With great power comes great responsibility. What does the internet give you? Great, not power, great power. And you've got to understand that you need responsibility after that. Someone asked the question here about, I need to find it. Oh, why do people check Facebook before they hire you, or something to that effect? I'm an employer. I can only speak from my own personal point of view. My company does check the internet before we hire anybody, because I want to see how you speak. I want to see how you think. And most of all, I want to see what you said about your last employer. Because if you cannot be civil about him, why should you ever be civil about me? You will never find a job in my company. And a lot of companies look for that. What have you said about other people? Because what you say about other people speaks of your character. Am I right? Would I be right to say that? What you say about other people speaks of your very own character. So that is why some people do check the internet. Okay, David, private blog, you start mocking ministers. Can you be sued?
It depends on what you say about the ministers, right? So if private law would be usually defamation law. So I described it earlier. If you identify a particular minister or any member of the public service, and it sort of lowers their reputation in the eyes of the community. There are a number of defenses. So you can say it is a fair comment, but you must have some facts to back it up. You can say it is the truth, but then you have to prove in court that it is true. And there's a qualified privilege, so you have to say it's a matter of public interest, but you have verified your facts at least before posting the comments. So most of the posts I've seen don't fall into any of these criteria. You're just angry and then you say all kinds of things which are untrue. So therefore you can be sued, and most likely you're going to lose in a defamation suit.
Okay. I want to get down to Joey and Kosh in particular. You put up videos. Yours is a blog. Do you, in the broader sense of the word, see yourself as journalists? Joey? In the broadest sense of the word?
Actually,
A citizen journalist?
maybe.
Maybe?
Maybe. Like, because it's not official. Like, it's nothing official. It's just really just a hobby, your own personal stuff. Like, really how you think. And a journalist is really just a job. They have to publish, like, facts. But for a blog post, right?
You don't have to publish
you don't
facts?
have to publish facts. Like rumors and stuff.
Like rumors, okay.
The what?
Oops. Mic's off. There we go. I think it's back now.
Yeah, you don't have to. There's a lot of rumors going on, and there's really just a lot of people who just post whatever they want. Yeah, so I won't say it's a journalism, yeah.
Yours is not.
Yeah, no.
Kosh?
Not at all.
No, not because of what you do.
You consider like Singaporean style or Gangnam style as journalism, but no, I think YouTube is a totally different platform where you entertain more than you talk about journalism stuff, like more than issues, social issues or political issues. You entertain more than you do.
Do anything else.
Not at all.
Felix, you deal a lot with the internet, not just with Stomp, but with various other platforms that SPH has. What are your thoughts on citizen journalism in Singapore?
No, I think the word journalist actually comes from journal, right?
Yeah.
Anyone who keeps a journal.
Is a journalist.
Right. So I consider bloggers as journalists.
Yeah.
They are journalists. Yeah, I consider them as journalists. So I think it's it's a term that actually embraces anyone who does reporting, writing, making an opinion about what is happening in society.
Could I just add on very quickly?
Yes.
I don't think it's that important to label someone as a journalist or not. If you go back to the Constitution of Singapore, it guarantees the freedom of speech. So everyone in that sense sort of has the right to comment on matters of interest of the public. So it doesn't matter whether you are a journalist certified with Straits Times or MediaCorp, or you are a citizen interested in how the country is run.
So it's still citizen journalism because you have a right to freedom of speech.
Yeah, so I think everyone in that sense is a journalist because you take part in being part
The reason why I brought this up is the question was asked, has citizen journalism been blown out of proportion, and how is it regulated at all here? Felix, you're probably the only one who can answer that.
Well, I think citizen journalism is a very important part of society today. I mean, the way it developed is because of the existence of the internet. I think it has kind of. I think if you look back at the history, the first picture of the tsunami in Thailand, for instance, that was sent back, to the West, actually came from a citizen journalist, a person who took a picture, So it has made tremendous impact. And if you look at the history of Stomp, we have uncovered many stories. We have pointed out many, injustices through the contributions of citizens. So I think it is, it is part and parcel of life, like it or not. It is, the internet has empowered people to report what's going on.
But do you, as SPH, for example, or are there systems in place that actually regulate citizen journalism?
No, actually, it's not so much regulation, but if a citizen journalist tip-off is picked up by the mainstream media, they do the investigation, they do the clarification, they develop the story from a tip-off. It's like tip-offs from the public. So there is an added dimension of a trained journalist developing a story.
So citizen journalism still does have its own place within mainstream media. Are we saying that? It does. With so much citizen journalism being personal opinion, can we then really trust mainstream media? Question for everyone to think about, okay? A lot of other questions have come through. Why do we think, and this is for the younger ones here today, why do we think teenagers these days comment so much about their personal lives, even though they know it is not going, it's going to go all over the world? Why do they do that? Why do they open up? Why do they talk about every little thing that happens in their lives, from kissing a boy to eating kway teow? It's got to be on my Facebook. Why are teenagers like this? Joey?
Hello. Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, I think what I think is because like Singapore is really too boring. There's nothing to do, so everybody just Instagrams what you eat and blog about what happened today. So yeah, too bo liao, Bored.
Kosh?
I don't think it's because they're boring. I have a feeling, right, that it's the whole self-gratification thing. It's the feeling of putting a picture of food on Instagram and getting 53 likes. You're like, oh, song 53 likes, Or posting something emo, or, oh, I miss you, or I miss my boyfriend, and getting 21 retweets. It's that feeling of, yes, someone relates to me, someone cares, someone is like me, I'm not alone. It's that feeling.
That's for fame.
I wouldn't say fame, not fame, but just the self-gratification feeling of, yes, someone is out there just like me, that kind of thing.
Actually, if I were to frame that, if we were to frame everything they say, 3 reasons. People, firstly, have the inner desire to be heard. People want to be heard, and because, why do they want to be heard? Because they want to be validated. They want people to agree with what they're saying. Oh yeah, I agree with that. And people, when they Instagram their food, the aeroplane wing in the clouds, people want, that feeling of validation that, yeah, hey, that's cool, I agree with you, I like you. And last but not least, for a simple reason, people want to rant. They want to rant, they want people to know their thoughts, their inner thoughts, but they do not want to say out. There's this conflict there. They want people to know it, but they do not want to say it. Yeah, there's this interesting conflict there.
It is a very interesting conflict.
Yes, don't ask me, ask them.
It is very interesting. We've basically run out of time for this segment. We're going to come back, and there's another segment on how the internet can be used for stuff that is really, really good. I think if you take away anything from what we have heard here this afternoon, it is that you need to know that for everything you put out there, there is going to be a consequence. There are going to be things that you will have to deal with. Please do not believe that what you put out there is just for yourself. You are going to affect a lot of people around you, people you know and people you don't know. So again, it is about using it responsibly, having respect for people, taking responsibility for your actions, and no matter how young you are, you can do that. Simply take the time to think before you do anything on the internet. Okay, we're going to take a very short break. We'll come back in a while with more speakers.